Here we go.
All right, good evening, East Hampton Town Board. We're live on 22. We're streaming to YouTube. You are being recorded. Phone lines are open. You may begin.
Thank you, Matthew. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the East Hampton Town Board meeting of Thursday, July 17th, 2025. Carol, if you could please read the roll call.
Present.
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 Present. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So Hugh, don't sit down. Welcome, Hugh, our town historian.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. In our continuing saga of police chief, it's Tommy Scott tonight. Tommy Scott was born and raised in Amagansett. He started out in law enforcement as a traffic control officer, then moved to a desk job as a radio dispatcher. He became eligible to join the force when he turned 21 in 1962. His starting salary was $3,600 a year. Every other week, I'd bring home $83, he said. Well, I got news for you, Tommy. I started teaching in 1963, and I took home $80 a week.
Wow.
So you were doing okay. Some police officers had 2 and even 3 jobs to support their families. To make ends meet, he worked on his landscape company and provided private security when his job came up. He worked for Jesse Rodriguez. The Rodriguez family had a landscaping business, and they lived right at the end of Abraham's Landing Road, right on the corner of Fresh Pond. In 1968, he made detective. He was promoted to a detective sergeant in 1972. 6 years later, he was named a lieutenant. In 1980, the East Hampton Town Board, and a unanimous decision, named him chief of police. I was given a set of keys and told, good luck, he said. He already had a background in administration. He was president of the Amagansett School Board, and he also served on the Amagansett Board of Fire Commissioners. One of his first achievements as chief was creating a substation in Montauk, where police officers would process minor arrests and write reports rather than having to go back to police headquarters in Hampton. Mr. Scott was the recipient of a town-created merit award given to reward money-making suggestions. In 1989, he was elected second vice president of the State Association of Chiefs of Police, and in 1991, he became its president. In 2000, he was the 38th Grand Marshal of the Montauk Friends of Aaron Parade. He's the longest-serving police chief in the history of the town of East Hampton. And remember, at one time, the police chief in the village and the police chief in the town were graduates of Amagansett Grade School. And at one time, the police chief in the town and the police chief in the village were brothers.
Wow.
Right? Okay, that's all I got. Remember, I'm getting some notices about the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We have work to do.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Hugh. Before we start, I just wanted to say, folks may have heard there was a brush fire late yesterday afternoon on the Nat Peak stretch, and I want to extend my deepest gratitude to the Montauk, Amagansett and East Hampton Fire Departments, East Hampton Town Police Department, the town fire marshals, and all the emergency personnel who acted swiftly to contain this fire. I especially want to recognize East Hampton Town Police Officer Ian Gherkin, who was the first to report the fire while on patrol. This was a coordinated and professional response that protected both people and property. We are incredibly grateful for everyone who answered the call. Then late this afternoon, I spoke with Chip Gorman, Regional Director for New York State Parks. There will be a 24/7 fire watch patrol in Nat Peak for the next 2 weeks. Chip said, if we get a good soaking rain sooner, they will reevaluate. But in the meantime, for the next 2 weeks, there will be a 24/7 fire watch patrol. So now we can move on to our public hearings. We only have one public hearing tonight. That'll be followed by public portion and then resolutions. So we'll have Carol read the meeting notice, and then Scott, you will introduce the legislation, please.
The public hearing will be held live and in person by the town board and will be available electronically by video and teleconferencing, and will be televised on local TV channel 22 and available for live stream on the LTV website. The public shall be permitted to appear in person, but may also provide comments on the matter being heard by calling 351-888-6331. Any person or party wishing to be heard with respect to the foregoing may do so in person, by agent, by attorney, or by written comment addressed to the East Hampton Town Clerk, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton. Comments may also be submitted to the town clerk by email to cbrennan@ehamptonny.gov. All comments must be received by the town clerk by the date and time of the public hearing. Please check the meeting agenda posted on the town's website for any changes and for updated information. Notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of East Hampton will hold a public hearing at Town Hall, 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, on July 17th at 6 p.m. or soon thereafter, as this matter may be heard, to consider comments of all persons regarding a local law amending Chapter 182, Town of East Hampton Nature Preserve of the East Hampton Town Code, an abstract of which follows: an update the provisions of the Town Code, Chapter 182, Town of East Hampton Nature Preserve, to more accurately reflect the aspects of town nature preserve management, including but not limited to the process of nominating properties as a town nature preserve, the management and preservation of such properties, including permitted and prohibited activities on nature preserve properties, the development and adoption of generic as well as other property-specific management plans for the nature preserve properties, and the monitoring of such properties and enforcement of all adopted rules and regulations related to the same. All is more fully set forth in the full text of the proposed local law, a copy of which is available in the office of the town clerk during regular business hours at 159 Panago Road, East Hampton, and on the town's website.
Thank you, Carol. Scott?
Sure, we'll do a quick introduction here, not 20 minutes. The Nature Preserve section of the Town Code began in the late 80s, with the first nature preserve parcels being added to the Town Code in 1993. By the way, Rick, were you here then? He was. There are now 443 nature preserve parcels comprising 3,635 acres. Since substantial time has passed, this is an opportunity to re-examine, update, and reaffirm the importance and need for the preservation and ongoing land management of our most pristine and wild places. With this in mind, a collaborative effort between the Nature Preserve Committee, the Department of Land Acquisition and Management, and the Town Attorney's Office has drafted a revised Chapter 182 dated 12/5/2024. That draft was voted on by the Nature Preserve Committee, and a recommendation was made to review and adopt the revised code to the Town Board on April 12th, 2025. On May 6th, the Nature Preserve Committee, John Jelnicki, and I presented these revisions at a Town Board work session, at which the Town Board asked very intelligent and insightful questions and asked for several clarifications and changes. And after making those changes, we presented a revised version at a work session in Montauk on June 10th. Satisfied with the amendments, the Town Board asked that this hearing be scheduled, and here we are. It's important to note that the purpose and importance of the code has not changed. However, change over time is necessary to update and account for several newer conditions such as the Community Preservation Fund purchases, sometimes dedicated as nature preserves, and the creation of a Land Acquisition and Management Department, which now does all the day-to-day land management on all preserves, nature preserves, CPF purchases, and municipal open space. On a macro level, the biggest modifications to the document are revisions or modernization of the code for clarity, and I'm just going to go through the high points on that really quick, just shuttling through this document that we have up on the screen.
Is that the right document?
It is. (182-3) definitions, departments on page 3. Defining departments to include the Department of Land Acquisition and Management. There had previously not been a department, as I mentioned, designated for the day-to-day land management. So finally, after many years of managing these properties, our department will now be recognized to fulfill that role. On page 6, 182-12, Nature Preserve Committee established. Just scroll down there. We actually have a reduction of the minimum voting committee members from 10 to 7. but expanding the responsibilities of that group. This is actually a reflection of the difficulty of finding volunteers to fill those seats. And the higher number you have, that means the more members you need to show up to actually have a quorum to vote. So reducing that number to 7 will actually be immensely helpful. 182-13, development of property dedicated as nature preserves on page 8. So we added a provision that allows removal of vegetation when deemed essential to prevent or reduce the risks of spreading infestation or fire may be permitted, provided the town approves a plan for the same developed in cooperation with the Department of Natural Resources and approved by resolution of the town board after public hearing. That was one of the changes the board requested. This recognizes invasive insect infestations like southern pine beetle or beech leaf disease. Some of those trees, after they die, become hazards to other adjacent property owners, and so this recognized the ability to be able to cut those trees and or remove for those purposes. With regard to 182-16 generic management plan on page 11, I'll just scroll down there, sorry. Let's see. I think I skipped something. Oh, no. Let's see. In particular, under prohibited activities, we added a new number 7, unauthorized storage or abandonment of vehicles of any kind, including boats, kayaks, and trailers, outside of legal hours of operation as per Town Code Chapter 91, which is basically a dawn to dusk. This has been an ongoing issue, particularly on Jar Drive. There is a buildup of boat storage on our nature preserve properties, and there's no ability to enforce their removal. And so these proposed changes will allow ordinance enforcement and marine patrol departments better tools and flexibility to enforce these special properties. Let's see. Under the same section prohibited, the board asked about e-bikes, and so we ostensibly made a differentiation between pedal assist and non-pedal assist e-bikes, prohibiting non-pedal assist bikes, but allowing pedal assist e-bikes. I actually have one of each. The one without pedals, it's a dirt bike. It just is. It has potential to do significant damage to the trails, and so in that recognition, we added these. Let's see. 182-18, duties of the Department of Land Acquisition and Management. Oh, that's me. 13 and 14. So not having a day-to-day management department, this is an illustration of the duties that we now are responsible to accomplish. And I won't go through each of those unless you want me to, okay? And then the last significant change on a macro look is penalties for offenses. And ostensibly, we just upped the majority of those fines, which we found quite low. In some cases, doubling them, and in some cases, going from 300 to 500, for example. And we don't have to go through each. Maximum being 10,000 instead of 5,000. And I think the board was comfortable with those increases. So while there are many small changes that I didn't highlight, this proposed local law amends Chapter 182 of the Town Code East Hampton Town Nature Preserve to clarify and update provisions of the chapter to more accurately set forth current policies and procedures which have evolved with improvements to technology, increased knowledge of environmental factors, and changes to the town's departmental structure. Again, in no way do these changes diminish this section, but rather they enhance it and clarify it. Does the board have any questions? Oh, I also want to point out, we haven't received a single public comment since it's been posted and available in the clerk's office.
Thank you, Scott. So I don't have anyone signed up, but is there anybody that's come in that wants to? Rick. Welcome, Rick.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the town board. Richard Whalen from Amagansett. I'm a former member of the Town Nature Reserve Committee and actually former chair of the Nature Reserve Committee. I support the proposed changes. I think they're well thought out. And I think the one I would really particularly note is that the Nature Preserve chapter of the code is actually so old that, as Scott pointed out, it didn't actually acknowledge the Department of Land Management because the department didn't exist when the chapter was first written. So it's beyond time that Scott's department is now acknowledged in the chapter and duties are spelled out. So I'm very much in support of the proposed amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Would anyone else like to address the board on this matter, just this public hearing, the amendment of Chapter 182? Matthew, is there anyone on the line?
Yes, we have two callers on the line.
Great. If
And
you could put the first.
Okay, I'll mute the first caller. Caller with phone number ending in 3732.
Good evening, Town Board. It's David Buda waiting for the opportunity to make a public comment. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, David. We'll put the next caller through. Caller with a phone number ending 3244.
Oh, yes, guys. Good evening. It's Martin Drew, Springs. Yeah, I was just listening to Scott Wilson's comments about the nature preserve, so I'm going to say, yes, I would support the amendments that they're speaking to. But he did mention dirt bikes. So here's my comment. It's about time you folks set aside a designated area so the people who used to enjoy the 300 miles of trails and our nature system have not 1 inch of land dedicated to their sport and their hobby. So I would say, yes, I support what's going on so you guys can keep your nature preserves free of dirt bikes and that sort of thing. But it's time, New York State allows and supports you guys designating an area for OHV, dirt bike, and the like. So, it's time. As you guys know, I stood in front of you for 20 years of my life trying to accomplish that, and we never did. So I'm just hoping in the near future you guys set aside in the guise of recreation something for the locals that they enjoy, even if it's 2 times a month or something. I mean, I know noise is the big thing back there, unless you flying in your Gulfstream jet, and then nobody gives a shite. But anyway, if you guys could focus on the airport area, Puerto Rico has hubs and recreation for their citizens, and they're at the airport. So I'll show you that one day in video so you guys can have something to look upon. Then maybe you could put an example forward like these folks do, that the public matters, our recreation matters, our lifestyle choices matter, and we're hoping you'll support us in and around the airport area, because that's the place everyone else is making noise, and we want to make some noise too. So thank you for allowing my comment. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Martin. Matthew, is there anyone else on the line that wants to speak to this public hearing?
No, we just have David Buda waiting for the public portion.
Motion to close?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to public portion. We ask you kindly to keep your comments to 3 minutes. And we have a sign-up list. So first is Conrad. And Conrad, if you could just state your name for the record, the clerk.
Conrad Mastricano, resident of this town for 28 years now. I was here about a month ago, and my concern at the time was the one-wall court at the spring school, and the tennis courts are adjacent, and the pickleball courts are adjacent to the court. My concern at the time was the wall itself is in great shape. It's the surface, it's the playing surface that is a nightmare. I guess it was poured cement years ago, and now because of the weather and deterioration, it's a series of bad bounces. I mean, every time I go down there and I drill, the ball does not bounce true, and that court needs to be resurfaced, and it's pretty dangerous, and I'm sure the town doesn't want to end up with a liability because I've fallen down twice on that court already, and it really needs to be addressed. And the playing surface on both sides, it's roughly 680 square feet on both sides, so it's a 34-foot by 20 area that needs to be resurfaced. And once that's done, if it could be painted, the lines painted instead of what's there now, would be a much better way to go. So I don't know if you've considered this, or Dave, apparently, if anything's been considered to resurface that area, I'd like to hear right now.
So this is public comment where we take the comments from the public. We don't have a discussion. So if we need your phone number or email address, you can leave that with the clerk, and one of us will get back to you.
And something will be decided eventually?
Well, I mean, that would be I'm not going to get in. We'll call you and we can discuss it.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Conrad. Roxana.
Good evening. My name is Roxana Pintali, and I'm going to read a statement. Obviously, I'm back here because of the gun club and the statements that they are making to the press, which is very upsetting. So we are perplexed by the fact that after 3 years of temporary restraining order and police reports, the Mason Club persists in deflecting and refusing to admit the wrongdoing in the bullet found in my house originating from the range. The town's silence as their landlord is equally stunning. The New York Post and Hampton Star reported this backed by clear evidence, police reports and surveillance from the club and my home, yet the club denies responsibility. And the town remains complicit. This is like a corporation hiding a factory safety breach. Admitting the failure is the first step to resolution. The club must acknowledge that the bullet originated from their club, from somebody shooting at the club, in order to rebuild trust, or their commitment to safety is dubious. The evidence is undeniable. Town officials, your interaction is a failure of governance. How can you consider a new lease when the club won't admit to endangering the community? Town officials compel the club to publicly acknowledge the bullet origin and conduct mandatory safety audits. Admitting the issue is the path to resolution. Our safety depends on your actions. Okay? The club keeps denying and telling people that it came from somewhere else. We all know, we have the facts, we have the police report, we have the state police reports, we're in court. The bullet came from the gun club. And that needs to be stated. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxana. Brad Brooks. Welcome, Brad.
Thanks. Brad Brooks from the Springs area. I'm come to speak about an issue that I came almost 3 years ago about the tick-borne disease issue. I guess what made me think about coming today again was that I pulled another tick off myself this morning. And I read in the local paper last week, there was an article about potentially a Lyme disease vaccine. And I guess our local assemblyman, Tommy, is it John Schiavone, classified it as a health crisis, the tick-borne disease issue. We have, I think, not one, but two local experts in alpha-gal and Lyme's who are doctors in the town. And sadly, the reason is because we probably have per capita more of the disease than anywhere else in the country. Now, this should be well known. I'm sure all of you must know people who've come down with these diseases. My question is, why in the last 10 years you've done nothing? I came here 3 years ago to ask for you to finally install some four-poster tick machines. East Hampton Star, if you read it, has written many articles about this in the last few years. These were invented by the USDA. Multiple studies show they can reduce ticks by 80 to 90%. Other towns in our area, North Haven, Shelter Island, they've used these in the past. They also show 80 to 90% reduction in ticks. When I went to Andy Gates 3 years ago about this, you know what I was told? They're too expensive. Now, I just don't understand that. This is a town that spent almost $2 million on a traffic circle where 2 stop signs would have been the solution. You spent 10 years trying to figure out how to build a senior center that's going to go $10 or $20 million over budget. But you can't spend 20, 30, God forbid, $50,000 on some tick machines. I just don't understand it. I know this isn't response, clearly, and I know, unfortunately, Tom is not here. I've been trading some emails and conversations with him over the last year. I realize there's a citizens committee now in the last year and a half. But to me, unfortunately, as somebody who was on the Energy and Sustainability Committee, that's just a death knell for nothing to happen. At what point can the town spend a little bit of money? Now, I've emailed you before, I've emailed Tom. The Girl Scout camp is one location where you need one signature to put up one of these. Why don't you do at least one test? But before you do that, why don't you test the area to see how many ticks there are now and how many years from now, and maybe 2 years from now, once you do these things. It's a really very common sense solution to what's a major problem here that I hope all of you realize is a major problem. I hope it doesn't sound crazy that we probably lead the country in tick-borne disease per capita, just as we probably also lead the country in car crashes with deer. I can't imagine there are many towns that have 500 to 600 car collisions on an annual basis. At a certain point, you just can't ignore this problem. So I'm hoping I'm not back here in 3 years again. Tom has assured me that something will be done, but this committee's been in effect for a year and a half. He's only had 2 meetings. It's really very simple. I'll send you all some information again. I'll send you these articles. They've been in the East Hampton Star. It should be a simple decision to make, to at least do a test. So I'm hoping that can be done the next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Brad. Would anyone else like to address the board? Okay, Matthew, if you want to put David Buddha through, please.
Sure. And Mr. Drew's waiting on the line as well. So I'll put Mr. Buddha through first.
Good evening again. It's David Buddha. I'm from the Springs, but right now I'm calling from somewhere in Sag Harbor. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm not going to burden you with a verbatim repeat of the email I sent to all of you today, but I am calling to discuss the same topic. I feel that the town's board should refrain from adopting proposed resolution 2025-1029, which, if adopted, would approve the purchase for $20 million of CPF funds of a grant of conservation easement from the Peconic Land Trust with regard to 47 and 41 Cove Hollow Farm Road. Contrary to the excellent job done by Scott Wilson in providing to the public full and fair and complete disclosure with regard to the previous public hearing that was just earlier this evening, the town utterly failed to provide the essential documents in advance of the July 3rd public hearing that was held concerning this matter. The full text of the grant of conservation easement still to this date has not been made public. Instead, this morning, considerably after the public hearing, you provided me and the rest of the public, by posting it on the website, a substantially redacted version of that document because it's not complete. The essential point, the public access, the public ability to use the land that would be the subject of the conservation easement has not yet been fleshed out. It hasn't been written, and it certainly hasn't been disclosed in advance to give the public an opportunity to comment. I am astonished that what is proposed apparently is a mode path, no improvement of a mode path, and a prohibition of the public going anywhere more than 125 feet from the water's edge. The actual conservation easement map, which is Exhibit A to the document, was not made part of the document that was posted for tonight's on today's agenda purposes on the town website. Tom Flight is apparently not there this evening, as I suspected he would not be because of the absence of any resolution. I think he should have an opportunity to put his 2 cents in. I don't know where he'll fall on this issue or what his reasoning will be, but I think that the fact that he's not there, the fact that you really have totally failed to honor the verbiage and the spirit of the open meetings law really should cause you to step back, finish the document, publish it, and renew the public hearing and have another session before you act to adopt it. That's all I have to say, except to refer you to the full text of the email I sent you earlier today. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you from Sag Harbor. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right. I'll put Mr.
Martin
Drew through.
please.
Hello again, Martin Drew, Springs. Yeah, I'm going to follow up with some emails they sent about town today. First of all, I wanted to thank some people. I wanted to thank Mr. Calder Piedmont, our councilman for Springs. I don't know if David forgot. We finally figured out our name. But we wanted to thank him for working hand in hand with Steve Lynch, our highway superintendent, and getting the painting work done and lining the Flaggy Hole, Maidstone Park Road entry to the park, where now we're hopeful that, and we're thankful also for the police, that being Chief Sala, working hand in hand to ensure this stuff got done correctly. We're hoping now that the lineage is finally down, that the police will have their authority to follow the New York State vehicle and traffic laws. So I know, Ms. Burke-Gonzalez, you don't like to answer a lot of questions in the public, so I'm just going to give you a yes or no question. Are you, as the top cop in our town, going to authorize Chief Sala to follow the letter of the law down there in the Maidstone Acres Rita Cantina scenario, which is actually the access road to our town park? There's still a lot of ongoing violations with the perpendicular parking. And as a board, you guys should be reminded that you can authorize angle parking down there to solve some of the issues. But the reality is you haven't done that. So nobody gets to have their cake and eat it too in the meanwhile. So I want to be thankful for all the gentlemen, honorable men in our town that got the proper work done, so that now it's on you to follow the law. So, Ms. Burke-Gonzalez, will you authorize the chief to do his job down there? Because our neighborhood is being quite blighted and affected by this free-for-all that goes on down there. And we need something done with the TCOs to ensure that people are coming down there with their proper town permit. So could you just answer that question for me, please? Thank you very much.
Are you through, Martin?
Yeah, I am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the
You're
line,
not going to
Matthew?
answer my question?
No,
So you're not
Martin,
going
this
to
is
answer the
public.
question?
It's public comment.
Yeah, ma'am, I know you choose not to engage the public, but that's not how it says to me when I look up the law. You can absolutely engage us and answer our questions. That's why we come with concern to the town board. So I would think it would be courtesy of you to tell us which direction you're heading here. Now that we've spent months and years getting the proper lineage so the chief can respectfully write tickets to the violators who are breaking New York State vehicle and traffic laws. So again, will you authorize the chief to do his job, ma'am? That's what I'm asking. Yes or no? Thank you so much. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Martin. Matthew, is there anyone else on the line?
We have no more callers on the line.
Rick? Welcome back, Rick.
Good evening again, Richard Whalen. This time I am speaking as an attorney. And I want to respond to the comments that David Buda made concerning the Cofalo Farm easement purchase. I have not seen his email. I think, first of all, the parameters of the easement are out there. They've been set forth before you had a public hearing. We know basically what the easement is. It's a conservation easement that will prevent development on those two lots. Will allow them to be used as a maritime grassland. I think that the details of the public access, the town has obviously indicated that there will be public access associated with this. I don't think you need to know every single detail of that. It's a 5.5 acre piece. It's not very large. It's going to be open. It's going to be grassland. The public obviously will have the right to go on the property to some extent. And I don't think there's anything that impedes you at this point from acting on a resolution, which I gather you have on for adoption later tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Would anyone else like to address the board? Okay, so now we're going to move on to resolutions. David, if you could start us off.
I have the pleasure to offer Resolution 2025-981. This is warrant number 7B. This is the approval of claims of $3,675,000, $3,675,881.30. The utility warrant 7B is $40,737.35.
Second. All in favor?
Aye. 982 is to promote and appoint automotive equipment operator in the highway department, Zachary Dam, to grade 22 starting step, which is $60,455.62 annually, retroactive to July 9th, 2025.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
983 is to promote and appoint automotive equipment operator in the highway department, Ronel Quintero Gomez. Again, grade 22 starting step, which is $60,455.62 annually, retroactive to July 9th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 984 is appoint seasonal employees in the Parks Department for July 2025, effective July 18th, 2025, names, positions, pay rates listed below.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 985 is appoint seasonal lifeguard in the Recreational Department, effective July 25th, 2025, Leo Burney, to Advanced Ocean Lifeguard.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
986 is appoint seasonal employee in the Recreational Department, Janice Horowitz, effective July 21st, 2025, and she will be a recreational specialist yoga in the Recreational Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
987 is an appoint seasonal employee in the Recreation Department, Miranda Tucci, effective July 8th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
988 is appoint student intern 2 in the Aquaculture Department, Max Higgins, effective July 18th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 989 is terminate seasonal lifeguard in the Recreational Department, retroactive to July 15th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
990 is a payout upon resignation to Lee Sullivan, who is an AEO in the town's highway department, and the request of payment in the finance office, the final payment in the amount of $478.84.
Second.
All in favor?
Excuse me, I'm so sorry. He is requested to a payment in the amount for reimbursement to the town in that amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 991 is a payout upon termination to a member of the town's highway department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I have Resolution 2025-992. This is authorize the CPF acquisition and amend the 2025 Management and Stewardship Plan for the property located at 43 Mile Hill Road. The purported owner is 43 Mile Hill LLC. The location is 43 Mile Hill Road, East Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-72-1-2. The public hearing was held on July 3rd, 2025 for approximately 9.35 acres of land. Proposed purchase price is $16 million.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 993 is extend contract EH24-028. This is a joint fuel facility maintenance service to Metro Environmental Services LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 994 is a reject bid EH25-020. This is for the SYA HVAC improvements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 995 is reject bid RFP EH 2024-106. This is for the Cantwell Court Affordable Housing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 996, the routine DB Bennett Engineering for 66 Main Street, Wainscott Main Street, and this is for evaluation of the current existing structures. Drew Bennett submitted a proposal dated June 14, 2025, not to exceed $17,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
997 is authorized additional engineering services for Drew Bennett for the future Cantwell Court subdivision. And this is the scope of work for clearing and is not to be, sorry, engineering services for not to exceed an amount of $1,480.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. 998 is amend resolution 2025-958 for the correct budget account code.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have Resolution 999. It's notice of public hearing to accept the deed of reserved area Glen Valley Associates LTD. This Town Board of East Hampton will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August 7th at 6 p.m. The grantor is GV at Mulford Avenue LLC. The location is 87 Northwest Road, East Hampton, and the reviewing agency is the Planning Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1000 is to accept resignation of an ARB member and appoint new alternate member, whereas Susan B. McGregor Scott was appointed as an alternate member, and Susan has resigned from the Architectural Review Board as an alternate member effective July 14th. Be it resolved that Peter C. Bickford is appointed as an alternate member to the ARB for the remainder of the calendar year 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1001 is to authorize application for Climate Smart Communities Grant for natural resources inventory. This is where the town wishes to complete a natural resources inventory to gather information about our local areas' important natural resources, to identify areas of high ecological value, characterize habitats present, understand impacts of development, and inform land use planning. Whereas the Climate Smart Communities Grant Program offers funding for such inventory, whereas the town of East Hampton would like to request financial assistance from the New York State Climate Smart Communities Grant Program. The town certifies that it has identified $200,000 of matching funds from in-kind services of staff and volunteer time. Resolved that the town of East Hampton authorizes Samantha Klein, Town Intergovernmental Relations Coordinator, or Kathy Burke-Gonzalez, Town Supervisor, to submit an application through the Consolidated Funding Application for a request of $200,000 of grant funds.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1002 authorizes travel and expenses reimbursements for 2 clerks. This is where the New York State Association of Magistrates and Court Clerks will hold the annual training conference in Albany on September 28th through October 1st. Resolved that Maria Osborne and Rachel Sechtelbin are hereby authorized to attend the conference and be reimbursed for conference registration, travel, meals, and lodging for an amount not to exceed $4,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1003 is a budget modification in the building department, moving $765 from full-time salaries to motor vehicle repairs and supply in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1004 is a budget modification for Justice Court, moving $10,000 from full-time salaries to outside stenography in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1005 is the approval of special events for Hampton's Lifeguard Association and Duck Creek for July, August, and September of 2005. Resolved that the following special event permits are hereby approved. The first is Hampton's Lifeguard Association's 4th Annual Run, Swim, Run HLA fundraiser event. This is on Atlantic Avenue Beach, Friday, July 18th from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. The rain date is Saturday, July 19th from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Hampton's Lifeguard Association's annual Nipper Tournament, water-based events at Albert's Landing Beach, on Monday, July 28th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Next is Hampton Lifeguards Association's annual Nipper Tournament land-based events at Atlantic Avenue Beach, Tuesday, July 29th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Next is Hampton Lifeguards Association's annual Junior Lifeguard Tournament land and sea events at Atlantic Avenue Beach, Saturday, August 2nd, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, August 3rd, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Next is the Lifeguards Association's Red Devil Swim at Atlantic Avenue Beach on August 30th, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. That rain date is August 31st, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Next, we have the Art Center at Duck Creek, 2025 exhibitions for Fitzhugh Carroll Sculptures. This takes place on the grounds from July 19th through December 14th, Thursday through Sundays, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., dawn to dusk daily. Next is the Art Center at Duck Creek 2025 exhibitions for Fitzhugh Carroll Sculptures. The reception, which takes place on Saturday, July 19th, 2025, 5 to 7. Next is the Art Center at Duck Creek's 2025 music series for the Camelic Cortina Quintet. This takes place on Thursday, July 24th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Next is the Art Center at Duck Creek's 2025 benefit, live music, food, and refreshment and speeches. This takes place on Friday, July 25th, 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The rain date for this is July 27th. 5 p.m. through 8:30 p.m. Next is the Art Center at Duck Creek 2025 music series for the Kazemi George Trio. This takes place on Thursday, July 31st, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Next, they have the Art Center at Duck Creek has 2025 exhibitions for Alex Pearlstein and the John Little Barn, Thursday, August 7th through Sunday, August 10th, 2 to 6 p.m. Next is the Art Center at Ducks Creek 2025 exhibitions, Long Island Sound Map, Cal Fish. This takes place in the Little Gallery, August 7th, 2025 through Sunday, August 10th, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Next up is the Art Center at Ducks Creek 2025 exhibitions for musical performance. This will take place on Saturday, August 9th, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Next up is the Art Center at Ducks Creek 2025 music series for Yvonne Rogers. Takes place on Thursday, August 14th, 6 to 8 p.m. The rain date is Sunday, August 17th, 6 to 8 p.m. Next up for the Art Center at Ducks Creek is the 2025 exhibition for Bruce Sherman. This takes place in the Little Gallery, August 16th through September 29th, Thursdays through Sunday, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Next up is the Art Center at Ducks Creek 2025 exhibitions for Bruce Sherman, The Reception. That will take place on Saturday, August 16th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Next up is the Art Center at Ducks Creek exhibitions for Daisuke Kimavira. This takes place at the John Little Barn, August 16th through September 28th, Thursday through Sundays, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Next up is the reception for the Daisuke Kimavira art exhibit. That takes place on Saturday, August 16th, 5 to 7 p.m. Next up is the Achille Bradley music series, Thursday, August 21st, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The rain date for that one is August 24th, 6 to 8 p.m. And lastly, the Art Center at Ducks Creek music series, Sophia Kickoff Quartet. That takes place Saturday, September 6th, 2025, 6 to 8 p.m. And the rain date is Sunday, September 7th at the same time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1006 is approval of various special events for August 2025. First up is the Montauk Point Lighthouse Nora Jones concert performance at the Lighthouse, Saturday, August 2nd, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. The rain date for this is August 3rd, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Next is Share the Harvest Farm, Share the Harvest Farm's annual summer soiree benefit. This takes place at Long Lane, East Hampton, Sunday, August 3rd, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Next is Hampton Vintage Flea Market on the grounds of Second House Museum in Montauk, retroactive to and including Sunday, July 6th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next up is Hampton's Vintage Market on the grounds of Second House Museum. This takes place, their vintage market takes place August 10th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next up is the Montauk Artists Association Art Show on the Green at the Village Green in Montauk, August 15th through Sunday, August 17th, each day, 12 to 5 p.m. each day. There's no rain date. And lastly is ARF Hampton's Bow Wow Meow Ball annual fundraiser dinner taking place at ARF's location on Daniels Hole Road, Saturday, August 16th, 6:30 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1007 is to retain stenographic service in person. This is to obtain stenographic in-person services for transcripts of cases held in the town justice court at $475 per diem rate of compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 1008, and I would like to make a correction to the category. It should not be a public hearing, but rather approval. And this is the first-time homebuyer down payment assistant program. Down payment assistance in the amount of $30,000 to the applicants listed.
Second as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carol, what's wrong? Okay. Okay, Resolution 1009 to accept OpenGov, Inc., change order for additional software services for 2025 to 2027. Payment in the amount on July 1st, 2025 in the amount of $6,237. Payment on April 1st, 2026 in the amount of $8,731.80. And payment on April 1st, 2027 in the amount of $9,168.39.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1010 to amend Resolution 2025-585, bid number EH25-008, food service, kitchenware items and miscellaneous items for March of 2025. There's 3 Partment disposable tins with lids were inadvertently not awarded and therefore be awarded to Mavilla Foods in the amount of $69.85 per case.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1011, this is to issue checks for various refunds to Tina Ozturk in the amount of $125 for recycling permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1012, this is to retain H2M architects and engineers for professional engineering services for local solid waste management plan in the amount of $36,920.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 1013, this is a budget modification for the sanitation department, an increase in the revenue budget line for interest on investments in the amount of $36,920, and an increase in the expenditure budget line for outside professional in the amount of $36,920.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2025-1014, it's a notice of public hearing for the 2025 agreement with the Village of Sag Harbor, East Hampton Road Protection District. This is the town's total cost for fire protection and ambulance services under this contract are $67,811.08. The public hearing will be held on August 7th at 6 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1015 is a provisional appointment to Employees Benefits Supervisor for Jacqueline Pratt. This is in the Human Resources Department at an annual salary of $86,000 for a 40-hour work week effective August 11th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1016 is to appoint part-time security guard Jacob Sutherland at the hourly rate of $27.50 effective August 1st.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1017 is a promotion and list appointment to Public Safety Dispatcher 2 for Harold Graham at an annual salary of $118,946.01, and this is effective July 27th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1018 is a promotion and list appointment to Public Safety Dispatcher 3, Stephen Blanchard, at an annual salary of $128,461.69, effective July 27th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1019 is a payout upon retirement for Police Officer Timothy Tierney. Timothy Tierney has retired from his full-time position as police officer with the East Hampton Town Police Department effective June 21st, and audited time records indicate that he has an accrued vacation time, accrued sick time, and accrued personal time. And his total payout will be $131,875.93. And we want to thank Officer Tierney, a healthy and happy retirement, and we're grateful for his service.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1020 is to amend Resolution 2025-279, East Hampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue. It has been requested to appoint additional participants listed below.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1021 is a payment due to East Hampton Justice Court. Finance Department is authorized to issue a voucher payment to the Town of East Hampton Justice Court in the amount of $80.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1022 is a budget modification for the Police Department for their CPR program. We're going to decrease the contingency in the amount of $5,000 and increase American Heart training expense in the same amount.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1023 is a budget modification for the Finance Department. We're moving around $225,000 to cover insurance costs for until the end of the year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1024 is to increase the cap for Dan Ruzzo and Whiteman Osterman Hanna LLP as outside environmental counsel for SECRA for 2025, constituting a total of $150,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1025 is to authorize an application to the Pro Housing Supply Funds Program for the Route 114 New Housing Development Infrastructure. We discussed this, I discussed this in my liaison report on Tuesday. The Route 114 New Housing Development Project is projected to have infrastructure costs in excess of $5 million that will be necessary to support the creation of the new housing units. The Grants Division, in partnership with the East Hampton Housing Authority, is authorized to submit an application to the Pro Housing Supply Fund for the Route 114 New Housing Development Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1026 is to declare August 2025 as Black Author Festival Month. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of East Hampton hereby declares August as Black Author Festival Month in the Town of East Hampton in celebration of storytelling, community, and the shared values that bring us together.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1027 is to increase the cap for John C. Amartano Esquire and the law firm of Farrell Fritz P.C. for 2025. This constitutes a total of $50,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1028 is to reject bid EH 25031, supply and delivery of Isuzu parts for 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
1029 is a resolution for the Peconic Land Trust to authorize the CPF acquisition of a conservation easement and amend the 2025 Management and Stewardship Plan. The town board held a public hearing on July 3rd to consider the acquisition of a conservation easement over approximately 5.5 acres of vacant land located on 41 and 47 Cove Hollow Farm Road in East Hampton Village. The purported owners have expressed a willingness to sell the above referenced conservation easement to the town for the proposed purchase price of $20 million. And this conservation easement will also include the installation of a path and off-street parking up to 50 feet in width.
Second.
Can you have a roll call vote, please, Carol?
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2025-1030 is to retain LK McLean Associates for professional services for the survey of 66 Industrial Road for the preparation of a boundary survey set forth in their proposal dated June 19th at a cost not to exceed $2,270.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, I believe we have two walk-on resolutions. Kate?
I'll go first. This is I'm offering resolution ID number 33176. It's a list appointment to senior office assistant, Spanish speaking, for Daphne Barrios. Whereas Suffolk County Department of Civil Service has given an examination for that title, and Daphne Barrios is reachable. Resolve that Daphne is hereby appointed to the full-time position of senior office assistant, Spanish speaking, with the Planning Department, with an annual salary of $57,036.10 for a 40-hour work week, effective August 11, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have ID number 33182, and that's to authorize the legal action against the owners of 290 Old Montauk Highway.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's all the resolutions we have for tonight. Is there any discussion we need on anything? Okay, do I have a motion to go into exec session?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for litigation.
Second. Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening, and thank you, Matthew, at LTV.
All right, you got it.